You know, back in season 2, we had the episode Secret of My Excess. Now, this apparently was done, of course, during Lauren Faust's final run with Friendship is Magic. I mean, sure, she may have stayed on for a little bit of season 3, but a majority of her contribution was season 1 and 2, where she was basically the executive producer, the one in charge. Now, the reason I bring up Secret of My Excess is we know that around season 1, and I think a little bit of season 2, Spike admitted his crush on Rarity, or his feelings for Rarity, to the rest of the main six. And Secret of My Excess basically tied that all in a nice heart-shaped bow when Spike essentially confessed his feelings for her, and Rarity basically, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically prevented him from saying anymore and smiled at him with tears in her eyes, acknowledging that she already knew. But the big question I think we should all be asking is, with the original intention at first that MLP-FIM was only supposed to go for a few seasons, mostly 3 at the most, which is why the 3rd season was the shortest, you have to ask yourself whether or not Lauren Faust intended Secret of My Excess to kind of basically be that catalyst, basically be that full circle episode that kind of gave off the impression that had the series only gone for 3 seasons as intended, which I'm assuming that's what was the original plan, that if Spike and Rarity were going to officially be an item. Now, we can't say for sure because the show, of course, went on for a lot more. It went on for 7 more seasons. But still, it's nice to speculate and wonder whether or not that would have been the case. Would we have gotten an episode in season 3, which could have been similar to what we had to end season 9, the series as itself, in Last Problem, which was basically a glimpse into the future? Would we have seen something similar to that, like, all the main 6, main 7 gathering together, and when Rarity arrives to the castle to meet up with Twilight in the Castle of Friendship, that at the same time she shows up with Spike, or when Spike shows up at the start of the episode all grown up and everything, or at least, as we see him in Last Problem, that he shows up alongside Rarity. These are good questions to wonder and speculate because, it makes you think. It makes you think that because looking back on it now, why have Spike finally admit his feelings to Rarity, so early, if you will, in the series run, when, they could have done it, I don't know, several seasons later. Why do that? And it's mainly due to the fact that, again, I think the original intention at that time was for not Spike and Rarity, but for the show to only go for about 3 seasons, which again explains why season 3 was the shortest. It was going to culminate with Twilight becoming an alicorn, and then basically leaving the door open for us to speculate on what was her next step. And there's the potential, when you really think about it, that the last episode, instead of being Magical Mystery Cure, could have been something similar to Last Problem. Now, again, I'm not saying that's entirely true, because, like I mentioned, it went on for 7 more seasons, or 6 more seasons after that. But when you really think about it, with season 3 being the shortest out of all 9 seasons, and season 2 being the season where basically it came full circle for Spike, and he admitted his feelings to Rarity, only for her to acknowledge that she already knew, it makes you wonder. It makes you think, and speculate, were they going to do something about that in season 3 had that been the last season? Were we going to have an episode similar to what we had in season 9, where it takes place, years or many moons later? Where we had seen Spike and Rarity show up together instead of separately like we did in Last Problem? Who knows? This is basically a question that I'm sure a lot of people will like to ask all the time, or at times I'll ask themselves or their fellow bronies and Pegasisters. And that's why I'm doing this video, basically to kind of ask that question to you guys as well. I mean, if you take the fact that the show went on for 6 more seasons after season 3, you have to wonder to yourself and ask, had things gone as originally intended and planned, and the series was over after season 3, would we have gotten an episode after Magic Mystery Cure to basically show us what takes place in the future? You know, would we have gotten something like that down the line? Or would we have gotten maybe the final scene in Magic Mystery Cure, you know, being Twilight in the future, and then in comes all the other main 7 cast, and together we see Spike and Rarity. It makes you think, it makes you wonder. I mean, yes, when we saw the result in the future of what potentially lied in store for the rest of the main cast, it was like, whoa, we didn't see Pinkie Pie becoming a mother. I mean, we kind of knew she was going to end up with cheese sandwich, but we didn't think it was going to go that far. We didn't, you know, we assumed, but didn't think they were going to actually imply, you know, Applejack and Rainbow Dash, or in a sense apply, if not officially point out that Flutterdash is Fluttercord is a thing. You know, we didn't. You know, these are things that, you know, a lot of us assumed, if not predicted, could happen, but didn't think, you know, potentially, or speculated could happen, but didn't really think they'd pull the trigger on, or at least, you know, send the message of, yeah, that something did happen. You know, even though we got all that in Last Problem, you know, it makes you wonder if we would have gotten something similar, maybe a little different, at the end of season 3, had that been the last season as originally intended. Because, again, you could have had one final scene with Twilight just reading through this journal, this book, you know, basically that highlights all the adventures, all the moments, all the memories as friends together, and then in comes, you know, in comes Rainbow Dash, in comes Applejack, in comes Pinkie, and then in comes Rarity and Spike, indicating they're together. You know, would that have happened? We don't know. Again, this is all something to really speculate and think about. Because, you know, again, the show went on for 6 more seasons and gave us a great finale. There's no doubt about it. But again, and I know I'm repeating myself saying that word, but again, you have to think, you know, would we have gotten something similar at the end of season 3 had that gone and been the last season as originally intended? You know, it's hard to say, but what do you guys think? Do you think, honestly, we would have gotten something similar in season 3 had that been the original final season compared to what we got in season 9? And do you think, had that gone as originally planned, that the final shot of all the characters coming together, one of them would have been a Spike and Rarity coming to, you know, showing up as a couple, basically capitalizing on what was, you know, pretty much confirmed or brought full circle in Secret of My Excess, you know, in season 2. Let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are in the live chat. And I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. I am out.